it just comes, with a lot. And then, also, you know, having to go to, school right after and everything like that, that could be, tough as well. But I feel like if you love it and, you're up to doing it, it shouldn't be too bad. But most of it is just up here, for real.
Definitely, definitely. I forgot to press live, so we're actually live right now. But no, like I definitely feel on that like mental part. I
Yeah.
feel like that was like, cause heck, like I'm like in with like with my fraternity, like even like with like pledging and all that, the grind, like a lot of it is mental. And if everybody could do it, they would. Everybody's like, oh, I could, I could play, college football, all this, like it sound good, but the
Yeah.
real it sound good, but no, again, like how is that? How is that switch from you're at LaSalle,
Mhm.
and then you're not you're a true freshman at Rutgers University, and you're around guys that juniors, seniors, a lot of guys because of the COVID they got an extra year. So just talk about that companionship, with the guys on your team. I know you talked about how a lot of most of your friends, and guys that you hang around with from the football team, but talk about, that the camaraderie that you made, with the guys on the football team.
Well, I would say, coming from LaSalle, they were all the guys were, very welcoming, and it was like a big brotherhood. So, coming into, college, that's what I was looking for, in a program, and I felt like Rutgers brought that or brings that, and even the older guys, seniors, no matter if they're fifth year, sixth year, fourth year, anything, like all the guys are welcoming. And I would just say it's not really that hard to, build connections with guys on the football team, because no matter if they're older than you or younger than you, then like everybody's cool with each other. We
Hmm.
all talk to each other when we can, even though all of us might not hang, outside of the facility and things like that. Um, we're all once we're together, we're like brothers.
Definitely, definitely. And I want to shift it. I want to ask you the first question. You know, you play both, basketball and football. Like I said earlier, you were actually, you're a former, 4-star recruit, and you're actually the fourth player in LaSalle, history to be named, first team All Catholic. Which sport did you start playing with first? Was it football first? Was it basketball first? And then after that, like what made you pick football and and really go that route really like I guess after after high school.
Yeah, so I would say, so I think, yeah, football was definitely my first sport. I started both young. I started both like in kindergarten, but football season comes first. So I started that, and I played all of them, of course, all the way up until high school. But I would say throughout like elementary school and middle school, I felt like basketball was probably like my first love. I felt like I was better at it. Um, and I just felt like, I don't know, it just came more natural to me. Like football came natural too, but I felt like basketball came a lot more natural. And then once I would say once high school came, of course football you start lifting a lot, and then I played running back, so you got to be strong.
Yeah.
So I would say after probably like my freshman year, I played varsity my freshman year on both sports, but I didn't play as much my freshman year for basketball. But I had a good football season that year, which led to me start getting recruited. And then my sophomore football season was really went really well, but basketball got hurt that year, so I missed like the whole season that year. So I didn't really get to show what I could
And this
do.
was your freshman year,
No, it's my sophomore year.
sophomore year.
Yeah, my sophomore year. So I got hurt, and I didn't really get to like show what I could do. So I had to kind of sit out. I could only play like the last two games of the season. So football just started to go, rise up more and more. And then after that was COVID and a bunch of different things. And I played after that. I was cool with basketball, and I ended up getting recruited in basketball from Princeton and Penn. But I felt that my recruitment was taking off more in football, and I felt like I started to put more work into football, and I think I started to fall in love more with football, as I got older.
Mm-hmm. Speaking and again going off football, uh, what led as a former four-star recruit, like what led to your decision to choose Rutgers? Now you chose Rutgers over Nebraska, Arizona State, Cincinnati, Duke, Michigan State, Pitt, Syracuse, go on and on, Texas A&M, Virginia, West Virginia. So, what was the deciding factor in you choosing Rutgers?
Yeah, so one I would say, so the COVID year, um, Rutgers, I think everything shut down like sometime I think after March or something like that. But Rutgers was the only school I got to visit before COVID hit. So I got to visit Rutgers. I love the school. I didn't really get to visit anywhere else after that. So I would have to do a lot of like virtual tours and meet with coaches through there and talk to them about the schools and see what the school looks like and the facilities and all types of stuff. But I felt that over time from my sophomore year up until now, even though I had good relationships with a lot of other coaches, I felt that Rutgers was like the most consistent. I felt that they were like the most real, um, and it just felt like home. And I felt like I
Mhm.
belonged there. And it was never really about going to the biggest school to me. Like, of course, I wanted to play. I wanted to play, big time football, either like Big Ten, SEC, like things like that. But it was never about going, oh, this school's top 10 in the country. I'm gonna go there just because I have a
Mhm.
chance to. It was about like development and where I felt most comfortable, and I felt that Rutgers brought that.
Definitely. Was we talked about it earlier. Rutgers is a hour and a half drive from you, so you can kind of go back home. When you please. Did that play any role? Like how close it was, to home? You could still. It's not like where it's like Temple, where it's like you like Daniel, like right at home. But like, did that play a factor in that as well?
Not really. I would say most of my when I was younger, I was always like, I want to go to school far. But
Yeah.
my parents, my mom didn't really care. My mom was just like, you can go wherever you want to go. I was like, we might not be able to see you all the time, but you can go wherever you want to go. My dad was like, he wanted me to stay close. So I
Hmm.
mean, it all worked out in the end. But for me, that was never really a big factor. I didn't really care wherever I went, wherever felt was the best fit. That's where I was gonna go.
Sure. Now coming into training camp, like at a Division 1 school, like how intense was it? Now again, like
Hmm.
these is like you're coming from a school where like you're the man,
Yeah,
but at Rutgers, you around a bunch of guys that they was the man too when they was at
hmm
high school too. So like, is how was training camp? How was preseason? Leading up to week 1. So just talk about how like training camp was, and in that adjustment. First off, going from being the man to now you're around like a bunch of guys that they was the man too.
yeah. So I would say training camp. Training camp was definitely the most. That's the most tough thing. You
Hmm.
got summer workouts right before training camp. It's tough, but training camp is when it gets real because you're in the building for so long, like hours out of the day, like from early in the morning up until night, and it's all football. No school. It's all football for like 3 weeks. So it was. I would say that was the biggest thing mentally for me. It was tough. I'm not gonna lie, because in high school, training camp lasts like 2 weeks. It's definitely not as intense. So I'll say it was easier to get through that. But I would say, yeah, that first week was the toughest week for me because I never experienced anything like that before. But I
Hmm.
would say over time I got more adjusted to it. And then, along that, going up against guys that, everybody on the team was basically the best on their high school team. So,
Right.
going up against these guys, practice it each and every day, it just made me better over time, and it's still making me better. Of course, it was definitely tough at first. Like I remember, um, I think it was like one of the first days in pads, and we were doing this one drill I never did before, and this dude got his
Mhm.
hands on me in this blocking drill and like moved me like crazy. I was like, dang, because
Yeah.
in high school, you bigger, you stronger, because everybody in high school, there might be like a select few that are gonna play football, in college, but you're bigger, stronger, faster than a lot of guys. So, once you're finally competing against like, everybody on your teams, just as good or better as you,
Mhm.
it makes things a lot different and more challenging. But I would definitely say, I'm getting a lot better, and I would say, from when I first started in the summer up until now, my progression as a player is definitely going up.
That's what's up. Now, let's talk about week one, right?
Mhm.
So you know, probably since when you first started, you was a offensive lineman. Then you ended up, once you were once in middle school or elementary, you start then you became, a running back. But you were always getting a lot of touches. But week
Mhm.
one, you only got one carry.
Yeah.
So how was your like? Does be honest, how was your thoughts? After that, what did you already know? All right, I'm probably true freshman. I might not get that many touches today, or was it kind of hard for you to be like, hey, like I came here,
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna get a lot of touches. So I guess yeah, just walk me through like how you felt, after and y'all still won against Boston College, but again, how like just how do you feel given the fact that you had limited touches in that, week one? What did you already know that you were gonna have limited touches, or it kind of surprised you? Just walk me through that.
Um, so I wasn't really sure, like I wasn't really worried about it too much. My coach told me that I definitely was gonna play that game. So, I was just kind of, just looking forward to that, just getting in.
Yeah,
I wasn't really, oh, I hope I get 15 touches. I hope I get 20 touches because it's my first game, you feel what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I would say I was just looking forward to, getting in. I think I got in, two plays that game. One was a carry, and then the other it was like a fake. Um, but yeah, I was just excited, just the moment playing my first college football game.
yeah. And now that following week, it was a blowout, and you had two tutties. So again, how'd you feel? Scoring your first touchdown. In college football. I bet you probably remember that play like it was yesterday. But yeah, just like walk me through, not only how you felt, scoring your first touchdown, but just like that, but just that whole game in general.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely like a surreal moment. We were up by a lot, so you know, um, my guy Kyle Manungai, and Shorty, they were like, be ready to get in, So I was just ready for the moment, and my name was called, um, just execute my job, and scored two touchdowns. I don't know, it was kind of crazy, because
Yeah.
when you're young, that's kind of like you dream of like big moments like these. So yeah, it was definitely the moment was definitely a surreal moment for me, for sure.
Yeah. And then like, after that, then you really started to get, more touches and all of that. Y'all won against Temple. Had a little, a 3 game skid. But how did it feel playing, the Ohio State, university? You had like, a good game as well there, too. But that's like talk about there's levels to this, in college,
Yeah.
in college football. How is it, to play against a powerhouse in Ohio State?
Um, that was a big moment, because you always see, Ohio State, top 10 team in the country, have good offenses, good defenses, send guys to the league every year. So, going there, you got there, crowd was crazy. It was like 100, maybe may have been like 100,000. It was crazy. I never played in a game that,
Woo!
yeah. never played in a game that big, so little there were some nerves definitely, going through, but I feel like I was definitely prepared when the game started, just from the preparation that we put in throughout the week, and you know with my coaches and the older running backs in our room. So um, I feel like that's what led to me playing, I guess, somewhat decent in that game.
Hmm. And then now your breakout game was against. I remember this because I was me and Seth. We were it was me, Seth, and Blake. We was in the crib because me and Blake are roommates, and so
Mhm.
we were in the crib, and then Blake was like, "Yo, like Sam just went for like over 100 yards." I'm like, "What?" Check my phone. I'm like, "No way." So I'm like, "No, it's not. Like this is crazy. This is crazy." So it's how did it feel? Because that was like your breakout game. We gonna talk about the injury and all that, but like just how'd you feel after that game? Like not only did you get over 100 yards, and y'all won, where you needed each yard as well. Like just talk, go walk me through that game against Indiana. Had a touchdown as well. That was like your breakout game of this year.
So I would say every week, my role was increasing. So that was the first game that I knew, like, all right, that was my first start. I knew I was going to start that game. So for me, it was just just trusting everything I've learned throughout the week, throughout my time in college so far, and just trusting my training, like what our coach says. And I felt like that's what led to me doing well. And I felt like over time, each game, I feel like my confidence got better. I felt like I got more confident, because when you first starting, you don't get as many touches. You don't really get as much of a feel for everything, because when you get to college, the game speeds up a
Mm-hmm.
lot faster. So I felt that over time the game started slowing down a lot for me, and I felt like with all of those things, put together, I felt like that's what, led to me, having a good game. And of course, my guys up from my offensive line, my receivers who block on the outside, and all of that too as well.
Yeah, because like you had 28 carries. Have you ever had like that many carries in a game or that's a lot. That's
I've
28 carries.
never,
That's a lot.
never, I never even had that many in high school, so that was the most I ever had in a game.
Sheesh, sheesh. No, that's what's up. Now, I ain't gonna talk about after the game. They asked you, how'd you feel? And you said, I'll be good. Post game to the media, and you just gotta do some recovery stuff, and you should be good. So, again, like, how'd you feel like physically after that game? Now, out of those 101 yards you ran, 89 of them were after contact. So, again, like just walk me through like how'd your foot feel? Was it like adrenaline rushing through? But yeah, just like walk me through just how that injury felt, and then that's I guess when the reporters was asking you like did it like really hurt, or was this like the adrenaline was like rushing in at that time?
Yeah, I think a big thing was adrenaline, um, because I could walk perfectly fine, after the game and everything like that. It wasn't bothering me, too much. So I just thought, like, I've had, little, you know, I'm not even, because I feel like an injury is like, what I have right now, but hurt. I was hurting a little bit, but it wasn't like bothering me too much. So I was like, all right, like with some treatment and things like that, I'll be good. So yeah, I was cool. Like after the game for a while, and then later in the night, my foot was killing me, and then the next morning I woke up and my foot was like swollen,
Mm,
like I couldn't even really put pressure on it. So I was like, I definitely need to get this checked out. This isn't good. So like one got like MRIs and X-rays and things, and one test led to another and another and another, and that's when they came to the decision that I'll be out for the season.
And well, first, like, what was your, coming off your, best game, by far, as a college athlete to then right after that, be out for the season. What were your initial thoughts after that? I know you probably had a lot of, like, family and friends, hitting you up as well. Yeah, but just again, walk me through how you felt, especially during that time, coming off like like the highest of highs, and then one of the lowest lows, and being out for the season.
Yeah, so for me, it was definitely tough because I didn't think it was that bad at first. I just thought it's something that might take some time, and then I'll be good next week or maybe the week after. But my mindset was just just to stay positive. Um, look at like the bright side of things. Look at what I've done. This year, and I feel like that's what helped me. Just looking at all the and I like my mom helped me. My mom helped me with that as well. She was like, look at all the like the good things you've done um, this year so far. Even though you got injured and you're out for the season, look at all the good things you have done. So I feel like that helped me the most. And just I would say just staying positive and cheering on my guys. And yeah, I feel like those were like those were like the biggest things for me that kept me positive and not in a dark place, because I
Yeah.
feel like injuries can especially if they're season ending, career ending, things like that, they
Mhm.
can really like bring you down. So just staying positive was the biggest thing for me, and
Yeah.
that's what I continue to do. And yeah, just looking forward to getting back next year.
And how's that recovery process with the rehab? Do you know when you're scheduled to how are you feeling right now? Which, if are you in a cast, or are you still limited in any type of way? You're going through, any, like, PT? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, so right now I'm rehab still. I'm in a boot right now, so I'm walking. Um, get out the boot soon. So really looking forward to that. Being able to finally walk regularly, and yeah, I mean it's definitely feeling a lot better. Everything's feeling a lot better. It's just takes time.
Yeah, yeah, and so that Indiana game, that was in was that October? Was that October?
Yeah, that was
That
October.
was October. That was October. So yeah, you go from, you know playing every week. Did that help you, like, with your academics any type of way? Because, like, now, like, you don't got football.
Mm.
You don't got practice every day. Um, did that help you, like, in, any type of way? You got a 4.0, yeah, your fall semester. You got, like, all right, like, I'm about to, go ahead and just dial in my academics. I am a college athlete. And, like, academics come first. Like, did that help you? Just really, like, dial into your, academics and all that.
Um, I would say it was pretty similar. Just to pretty similar to like even when I was playing, because
Hmm.
even though I wasn't playing, I'm still in the facility with the guys. Even though I'm not out in practice with them and I'm doing rehab and things like that, I'm still like occupied doing things. So we were all leaving the building at the same time, and even when I was back home, I was still treating everything like I was still playing. So like watching film and doing things like that. So um, I feel like I'm always pretty on top of my academics. Even though I can probably procrastinate at times, I need to get better at that.
Man, same
Um,
here, man.
yeah, but other than that, though, I feel that I was pretty on top of everything. Even with the injury, I felt like it was pretty similar to when I was playing.
Yeah. Do you live by like any? Do you have? Here's what I'll say. Do before games. There any music that you listen to? Favorite artists that get you real pumped up? Or maybe like watch a speech or something get you real motivated. Like what gets you real juiced up before before games and all that. I heard something LeBron, he said that he watched Beethoven. I'm like, oh, he listened to Beethoven. I'm like, you're a capping. You're a capping. You're a capping. But like, is there anything that any artist you listen to right now or anything you listen to but before games that really gets you pumped up?
I would say I listen to like a lot of like Meek Mill. Um,
Philly in the building. Philly in the
yeah, I
building.
would say a lot of like Philly artists. Core, even like throwback like Freeway, things like that, just to like where I come from. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
then yeah, I would say that gets me pumped up. And then always pray with my mom before every game. So that's also a big thing for me.
that's what's up. And was your faith something that you really leaned on, after your injury and during that time that you were still with the guys, rehab and all that, but in terms of being on the field that you were away from that, was your faith something that you really leaned on and still do during this time?
Yeah, I would definitely say, I've started to, pray a lot more. Cause I feel like, and then I know it's definitely not just me. I feel like a lot of us, tend to, pray when we want something good to happen. You feel what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And, you can't just always do that because things aren't always going to go the way you want them to go. So,
Yeah.
I think, also, praying when, just to pray and just talk to God. Yeah.
No facts. No facts. I mean, like I fall on that too, where it's like either something really big happen that's like good, and I pray, or something like really bad happen. I'm like, God, like, get me out of this situation.
Mhm.
But like, kind of when you're like even killing, there's nothing, nothing like really big going on, but again, just like every day, keeps you level headed. I know at school, away from family, like that's what like keeps me grounded and lets me know, keeps me like in tune with like my values too, as well. Because like it can be like a lot of like distractions too, and I want to talk about that. How are you able to? Let's just be honest. You a college athlete. You know how they get. You know how they get. So
Yeah.
yeah. So how was it with you? Like with getting away from like all those distractions. I ain't gonna go too much with it. But yeah, how did you just really like balance yourself with the distractions of being a college athlete?
Yeah. Me, I would say I stay out of the mix for real, for real. I don't really,
Yeah.
do too much. I'm a big homebody. So I'm like always at home. I'm not in the, partying and things like that. I haven't been to one party, since I've been to school. So
Yeah.
um, I would say, that, just and I feel like that kind of keeps me, away from it. And, I've always, had the right mindset, to watch out for certain things. And, especially as an athlete, because, one thing can, get you in trouble.
Hmm.
You know, like I follow like a quote my mom says. I got it like up on my wall here, but it only takes like 1 second to get into trouble, but it could take your life or a lifetime to get out of it. So like I
Hmm.
always follow by that, because it really only takes 1 second. You do
That's
something
a fact.
wrong that can change your whole life. So I
That's a
live by that.
fact. It's like a lot of times, a lot of guys that either athletes or you know celebrities or in the spotlight. You make one wrong decision that decision could take 1 second, 5 seconds, and then
Mhm.
all the work that you put in, all the years, all the work that you put in to get up to that point is now gone over again, like you said, like a decision that could have took like what 1 second, 2 second, 5 seconds at most.
Yeah.
And so I want to ask you like talk about your relationship, with your mom and your dad, how supportive they've been, with you, just, coming up, with football, always being at your games, and just talk about y'all's relationship.
So I would say, I have a really strong relationship with both. Um, but I would say that the person that, I'm like always with, when I go home is definitely probably my dad. Cause I would say probably my dad and I have the most in common, with sports, music, all types of things. So, he's the one that got me into football and basketball and you know, all the sports I played, growing up. So, we've always had like a really strong connection. And then, my mom, she's always, always there for me, very busy woman, of course,
Mhm.
like with the Jack and Jill stuff
Oh
and
yeah.
all types of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I'll be like, Mom, I think you're working a little too much, but
My mom too. My
yeah,
mom too.
but um, it's all worked out, and I appreciate them, for everything they do, because I wouldn't be where I'm at without them, and they've supported me from the ground up. So they didn't miss before I got hurt. They were at every game,
Mhm.
even if it was away. So
Wow.
I just thank them for everything they do each and every day.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing. Again, that was touching too. Talking about your relationship with your dad. Feel the same way. Um, because like even with myself, having like a stutter, I looked at my dad as somebody that was like, a pastor, a public speaker. And I'm like, heck, if he can be, out here, speaking in front of hundreds of people, thousands of people, I'm his son. I can do the same thing. So I know I definitely feel you on that sentiment as well. That was really touching to hear. I want to go back to the the football side of it now. A couple of days ago, you know, Rutgers y'all hired or Rutgers hired new offensive coordinator, Kirk, and I'm probably gonna butcher his name. C.R. Roca.
Kirk
Kirk,
Soraka.
yeah,
Kirk
Kirk.
Soraka. Gotcha.
Yeah. So how was your again like reaction to his hiring? He was able to coach Minnesota to have like the 15th ranked rushing attack in college football. So yeah, just give me your thoughts on that new hiring there.
I'm very excited. Just seeing what he did, what he's done with Minnesota. In past programs. Of course, I've heard a bunch of positive things about him. So I can't. I can't wait to finally get the chance to work with him. As a player. Um,
Hmm.
this year it was definitely tough. Because we started the year with one offensive coordinator, and then fired, and then it changed. So it was definitely tough, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting started with Coach Soraka, and
Soraka, got
yeah.
for sure, for sure. That's what's up. That's what's up. And now as we close, we got like, around like like 15 minutes left. 15 minutes left. One thing that we do share in common is Jack and Jill, right? And talk about growing up at Jack and Jill. Like myself went to Friend Central, so predominantly white institution. But it was a blessing, right, to be around guys like Seth, guys like Blake, um, Drew. Can keep going on and know Jack and Drew got a little. At least when I went to Morehouse, people were like, "Oh, you and Jack and Jill, you stuck up." I'm like, "No, like it's some cool guys in
Yeah.
Jack and Jill." But yeah, yeah, it's like let's talk about Jack and Jill, kind of like what it meant to you. You're real involved. Your mother's real involved as well. And so just talk about that.
Yeah, so for me, Jack and Jill. So I went to, I've gone to predominantly white school like all my life. So I've kind of been used to always being, maybe like there might be like maybe three, four black kids in the class. Well, not just in the class. I might be the only black kid in the class, but like in my grade,
Mm-hmm.
normally it'd be like four or five of us. So you know, having Jack and Jill, just to be around people, that are kind of like the same as you, you know, well, I would say was very, helpful. And, just with all the, things that we did, the activities, community service, and
Yeah.
then, the little events, like if we had the little Jack and Jill parties and teen conference and Copa and all of those different things where you get to meet others, not just, from, your state, but, other, um, well, from the Eastern region, DC, Maryland, Virginia, all types of places, New York.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I would say I definitely enjoyed my experience with Jack and Jill, and yeah, I would definitely like recommend it for any black family. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
For sure. Now going back to college football and that aspect, I feel like with the NIL, that just changed the game. Not only for like athletes, but also for myself on the media side. I feel like before it was more regulated in terms of like what athletes could and can say. Now it's like every athlete, they're their own brand.
Mhm.
So speaking of like NIL, like have you like got into that as well, and creating like your own brand as Samuel Brown? Have you gotten into the
Well,
NIL stuff?
I would say that's one thing that I have to work on. And I've talked to people, about it at school and, also, with family and things like that. I would say that's one thing that I have to work on. I've done like some, small NIL stuff, but I would say working on, branding, myself, my name, things like that. I feel like that's one thing that I have to do.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And also with uh the transfer portal. I don't know if you have other friends that are in the transfer portal. It's kind of like changing the game right now as well. I got my alerts on with all these college football like social media accounts. I'm seeing this guy went here, someone went over here. As myself coming from like a HBCU, I was
Mhm.
definitely I would say I was definitely like, personally discouraged to see, a lot of um HBCU college athletes, go, like, transfer from like a Jackson State or transfer from like a Southern and stuff like that. What was your thoughts on I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Deion Sanders situation and how he went to Colorado, and then Travis Hunter, he left to go to Colorado as well. And I know that you go to go to Rutgers, but I would love to hear like your perspective as somebody that is at a PWI, and just like that perspective as somebody that is actually living through what these college athletes are transferring to, and transferring out of, and all that. So what's your perspective on all of just like with Dion stuff, Travis Hunter, and just like athletes using that transfer portal?
Well, yeah, I would say, I would say majority, a lot of athletes, choose school because, of the coaching staff and, because the coaches, their stature, what they, everything they bring to the table and, their belief in that player. And I feel like, that's why, Travis and, other guys, went with Dion, to Colorado. And I feel like that's what, a lot of guys do, if their head coach leaves or a few assistants leave, that kind of like got them to the program. I feel like a lot of guys make their decisions, based off that. The transfer portal is definitely tough because you never know if you're, gonna get picked up because there's thousands of guys, in the transfer portal. But one thing that my mom's always told me is that you know don't always don't like pick a school just because it looks nice or the coaches and things like that, because coaches come and go. You feel what I'm
Mm,
saying? A coach could get a better job somewhere else. It's not that they might not want to be at that program anymore. It's just they have families too.
yeah.
So she always told me to just pick the school because you love it. Like make sure
Mhm.
you love the school because coaches can come and go at any time, and you never know when. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's kind of how I look at everything.
Hmm. And as a true freshman that's getting like real playing time, before your injury, that's like usually like most for most you know for most college athletes, that's not that's not really normal for a true freshman to get 28 carries against Indiana. So I want to ask you, be honest, what's your plans after Rutgers? What's your plans after Rutgers? You looking at the NFL? What you want? What you want, bro?
I would say definitely NFL is definitely that's probably my end goal. That's what I want to do. Um, and it's definitely gonna take a lot more work. Um, and I would say that's the big thing for me. But also life after football, because football doesn't last forever, and there's chances that I might not make the NFL. You feel what I'm saying? But I would say that's one big thing on my list. That's what I want to do.
That's what's up. And I didn't even asked you going off the academic part. What's your major? But tell the people your major, what you studying in. That I can't believe I glossed over that.
Oh yeah, so I'm undecided right now, but I think that I might want to get into law.
Mm.
So I'm still taking my time with everything, but I think that's something that I may want to get into for sure.
Well, heck, I know my mom. She commented some. She was like, and she said, oh, "Here's what she said. Hey, Sam Brown, good to see you on Real Talk with MJ. Informative talk about high school to D1 college football transition." Well, she's a lawyer, so ever need that connect, I got you. I got you. But no, that's what's up. That's what's up. Definitely, as we close, got a couple more questions left. Folks that's watching, we'll be out at 7, and then there'll be a post recording as well, and we'll post some of these clips and reels of this whole episode. I want to ask you to you know what advice you got for uh athletes in college and middle school, maybe right now, that is looking to get to that next level, and maybe they don't really know all that it takes. Again, you talked about the physical task, but a lot of it is mental. I love for you to like expand on like mentally how hard it is, to stay to yourself, stay true to yourself, stay true to your morals and values. And just any advice that you have for college athletes that could be watching right now that look up to you and see like how did you get to where you are right now.
Yeah, I would say the big thing that helped me is you just gotta work hard. You gotta grind. You feel what I'm saying? I feel that there were definitely times, even times now where you get up, it's early morning. You're like, man, do I really want to do this? Like, it might be 5:30 in the morning. It might be 5, 6. Like, you like, do I really want to do this? But you know, just for like your love of the game. If you love the game, you're gonna do anything. Um, to get to the level that you want to get at. And I feel like that's what helped me. There were definitely times where because I work out a lot. I put a lot of work in the football and academics as well. But there were definitely times where I'm like, I don't I don't know if I want to do this, or there would be times where I'm working, working out every day.
Hmm.
My dad's like my dad's real like motivating person, things like that. But he was just like sometimes like, man, I think you're working out too much. You need to take a break, things
All
like
right.
that. But I'm like, my mindset is just like, and if I'm not doing something, somebody else is getting better. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? So, that's how I look at it. Because my goal is, I have goals to, be the best that I can be, and others have that same goal. But it's really, who's gonna work the hardest, and put the most work in. So I
Yeah.
think, if guys, who are younger than me, middle school, elementary school, take that advice. If they really love, and it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be sports. It could be with anything.
Hmm.
I feel like there's definitely things, on the academic side, that I have to do, a lot more in. I feel like I have to, study a lot more than I probably usually do. The procrastination part that I was talking about.
Oh
So
man. Oh,
yeah, so I feel like it comes in, with everything, not just sports.
that's a fact. Like yeah, that's a fact. Like that same. I love when you talked about heck, if I don't go to the gym, if I'm not working out, if I don't hit the field, somebody else is. I feel that same way as a journalist. If I'm not on my game in terms of putting out this podcast episode, like on the Eagles or whatever, no, best believe it's somebody else that's going to have that,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to have that video too. So
But
it's that same like kind of so I'm a Q, but like no pun intended, like that like dog mentality of like I'm gonna get it really by any means, and
mm-hmm.
like really anybody's in my way, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. And so like, that's something that a lot of guys, especially in sports too, you look at some guys, you're like, oh yeah, he got that dog, and then like yeah, like he got that extra like the extra umph to him, where it's like he's intrinsically motivated. Not only is he talented, which I see in you, but it's like you want to get better each day, and you you might see maybe holes in your game where you're like, oh, yeah, I want to improve in that aspect. I want to improve in that aspect, and you're self aware, like knowing, okay, I want to improve in this, or I'm in the gym to improve in this, and I feel like that self awareness part is key to not only you know, in sports, but again in life. I feel like sports is a microcosm of life, and I feel like that's why so many people love it so much. Why I love it is because a lot of what we learn, whether it's covering sports, whether it's playing sports, a lot of it can be transferred to
Mm-hmm.
outside sports. Whether you're talking about you want to get into law, that same mentality of being the first, want to go after it. That same mentality can carry you through, you know, with a lot. So again, I appreciate that, and also, who you got tonight? Now we got Georgia, we
Mm-hmm.
got TCU. So who you got tonight? Who you got tonight?
Well, I've been saying from the jump, I think TCU. I think TCU might get it.
Mm,
I mean, Georgia, of course, Georgia's, played the best all year,
yeah,
100%. But I feel like TCU, they never made it this far, ever. And that's why I was telling some of my friends, I was like, TCU's never made it this far ever, and I was like, they want this bad, you know, not just for themselves, but for the program, to make history. Like they want it bad, so I feel like it's definitely going to be a good game. But I think TCU might come out on top.
yeah. Kind of going off of that, I got Georgia, but I do feel like Georgia has literally everything to lose, and everything to lose, and like TCU is like they kind of playing with house money because ain't
Mhm.
nobody expect them to come here. People thought it was going to be either Michigan, Michigan was going to beat them and all that. So they really playing with house money. And in sports, that's very, very dangerous for a team to be playing with house money. So I think Georgia will win, but it's gonna be one of those classics where it's like comes like the last minute, something fluky might happen. We gonna
Hmm.
see, but I we definitely gonna be in for a treat. My last question, just talk about heading into next season, and your expectations. I think of like the Wi-Fi was a little bit messed up. You can hear me
Yeah,
now?
yeah,
All
I
right,
can
but
hear
y'all
you.
all right, but yeah, I was gonna ask, like last question, what's your expectations not only for yourself, next season, but for your team too, be a sophomore, coming back from injury. What's your expectations next year?
So one, I would say, of course, to get back to 100%. So I can do everything that I do on the field. Of course, there's things that I have to improve in on the field. Looking back at film, from this season, that I work on. And but one, I would just say as a team, definitely to be a winning team. You know, I'm not saying that we might be the best team in the country, but definitely to be a winning team, make it to a bowl game. I feel like that's the biggest thing. And then like an individual goal. Uh, I would say, I mean, an individual goal I have is 1,000 yard rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Be one of the best running backs. Not only in the Big Ten but in the country. Um, but yeah, I feel like those are the things I'm looking forward to. But I feel like most of all though is just to become a winning team in the Big Ten. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
know that winning a bowl game and getting to a bowl game is the biggest thing for us right now.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I definitely appreciate you and your time. Now, people watching, I messed up a little bit because I should have pressed live 5 minutes into it. But no, we all good. We all good. I appreciate all for y'all tuning in. Actually, last I forgot I even asked this. What's your is there any like running backs right now or running backs in the past that you have kind of looked up to and emulated the game in any type of way?
Um, so I would say, of course, like if we go and throwback, like a while back, I love like watching Eric Dickerson highlights. And then my favorite player growing up was always Le'Veon Bell. Love
Oh
Le'Veon
yeah,
Bell. From Michigan State up into the Steelers. He was a beast.
for sure, for sure. Well, again, man, I appreciate you for hopping on. Y'all, man, y'all watch out. Sam Brown, he coming. And he gonna be here for a long time. Best believe that. But again, I appreciate you for having, for taking your time out your day to, hop on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Appreciate you, bro.
For sure, for sure. With that being said, y'all, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. We'll have some of the best clips from this episode, coming out, throughout this week. But with that being said, y'all, we out.